Всем привет еще раз. Сегодня расскажу, как мы запускаем наши UI-тесты, как мы пришли к этой истории, что было в начале, когда мы только начинали приходить к UI-тестированию, и почему вообще нужно делать это за 5 минут. О себе. Последние 3 года работаю руководителем отдела тестирования в компании DocDoc, и параллельно с этим еще строю процессы в разработке, то, как мы существуем, как наши идеи вообще доходят до пользователя. Можно писать на почту, лучше в Facebook, там быстрее гораздо отвечу. Значит, о компании DocDoc. Мы на рынке с 2012 года начинали как стартап. На текущий момент уже устоявшаяся компания, но каких-то стартапов у нас живет. Более 100 тысяч онлайн-записей в частные клиники мы осуществляем пациентов. И сейчас очень много стало еще разных проектов, направлений, как телемедицина, свой онлайн-магазин, в котором можно покупать смарт-часы. Начнем с того, как вообще у нас UI-тесты зарождались, и что от нас ожидали, и в каких реалиях мы живем. Во-первых, к нам с таким запросом пришел сам бизнес.
Business itself requested it from us, so we didn't need to ask about anything. They just wanted us to automate it. Back then, we were doing 2 releases per week, and regression was about 8 hours of manual work. So 2 days were falling out completely out of testers' life. And time to market was very important. So how long does it take to get the idea to the users? If on Friday they decide an idea, then on Friday it would be at buy only, and they did not satisfy them at all. The second thing that we have is many experience, many tests. As a startup, we don't entirely understand what ideas our users need. So all the things that we're launching, that we're releasing, they're all hypotheses for us. We're testing them, and about 80% of it is actually not needed for anyone, but we don't care about it. Now we have about 15 areas. In the beginning, we had only website, then we had partners, seller, different separate marketing. Everybody has different tasks, and if you do regression at every task, then it's very costly and time-consuming. And if you get it to release, then there were too many bugs, and UI tests were really necessary here. Other peculiarities of the project, we have a lot of other things. We work on tablet, web, and mobile version. Separately from that, we have a mobile application. The technology very simple here, PHP and GS. Tablet version and mobile and web, they all are similar, but by 50% approximately, and the other 50 are different, and we have to adjust them to these 3 different versions, different tests. So what do we have now? Now we have, so this is about web, more than 2,500 scenarios. Actually, it's about from 2,500 to 3,000. Then, if you launch all tests in one flow, then it will take about 10 hours to do them, and we supported it and we created it with 2 automators only. So there is no big team, and the big team is not growing, and in 3 years there's just 2 people. So what software do we use? What platforms? Initially, we didn't have any platform. We had front end. It was using JS, and we use JS even now. Our first UI tests were created by our front-enders, and we used Cucumber as a framework that we use. Then we use Gherkin. Is there anyone who doesn't know Gherkin? Should I tell more details about Gherkin? Gherkin is a language to describe scenarios for also tests. For instance, for Cucumber, it helps adapt it to the language that's understandable for the automata. Manual tester takes the text that is written in Russian, it's adequate and it's clear, and it translates it to Gherkin language. I can show you the example. And we generate certain rules that help us speed up this process. So what does this scenario look like? A scenario. In Terminator way, it would look this way, but in our case, it looks a different way. There's a feature file, it's a small suite which unites a few scenarios. It has a certain name. It all is done in Russian language. Background is something that you start with, so you open a page or the beginning, and the background is the same for all scenarios in this feature file. Then the scenario goes, it has a headline that is clear to everyone. Then there's what we do, then what we receive, then and it just completes the scenario in one feature file. There may be many feature files, and some scenarios have some tables in them. Thanks to them, you can insert some variables in there. For instance, in here it's laser labioplastic, and here you can type in text and a disease in commas. And a disease can be on the table, and the scenarios will switch from one to another. It's very relevant to us because we have many of such variations. Even if you take specialization of a doctor, there are about 70 of them, and you need to be able to choose a few of them out of a list. Our rules, our ground rules, we introduced them in the very beginning, and we realized that we should agree ground rules in the beginning. Even given there are only two people, you need to synchronize somehow. First, there is a glossary and the style and what we define by what. So the automators and developers think in the same way. Some people call footer or basement. Someone were saying filter or search. So we had different names, and we decided to generate a glossary. So to agree on definitions. And we have a list of definitions now. The same actions that can be made. You can the same, for instance, for a button, you can push, click, or different other words. So we decided click. Click would be a good thing. Then it fits with the tools. We use the Sublime Text or Visual Studio Code. And there are plugins for Gherkin language, for Cucumber, and it understands the scenario and understands the steps. You can say click, and it understands the scenario that was defined by another automator in his feature file, and it takes 10 times faster to develop it all. Speed. Why do we need to have this high speed? Why do we need to accelerate the dev? It takes 25 minutes and it's 16 flows, and on release it's 5 minutes, sometimes up to 9 minutes. So we're going down by 5 minutes. Why do we need speed? First, when we were doing our own auto tests, we wanted to shift to the left with the project, not only use them during the release. And when we gave our tests to the developers and we started launching them, then it happened so that nobody was launching because it lasted the whole hour and developers were reluctant to wait. And for this reason, they were not trusted and they were not stable.
Time to market, когда бизнес хочет много, он хочет, чтобы деньги, часто цифру у нас 30 релизов в день получается, тогда они хотели хотя бы каждый день релизиться, и все равно с теми долгими тестами это не получалось. Какие проблемы, с которыми мы столкнулись? Во-первых, все это было медленно. То есть мы где-то порядка 3 месяцев писали тесты, вот что-то получилось. И они были медленные, были нестабильные, невозможно было доверять. Где-то 50% времени стало уходить на поддержку того, что мы уже написали. Получается, что с каждым написанным тестом мы начинаем заниматься все больше. И в какой-то момент там переходили, что целый месяц только делали, что занимались саппортом тестов. И было сложно анализировать, потому что все результаты у нас падали просто в консоль, Jenkins, не хватало никакой истории, и консоль это еще не каждый мог прочитать.
is something that's hard
Почему
to read.
медленно?
Someone couldn't read it. Why
Первое — это
slowly?
долгие сценарии.
Lengthy
Мы начали с того подхода,
scenarios.
что взяли просто
We started from the approach that
тесты, которые написали
we
ручные
took
тестировщики,
tests
попытались
that
их
were
в таком же
designed manually
формате
by testers,
переписать и
and we
сделать из
decided
этого
to
сценарий
rewrite
для
them and
автоматизатора. Но если
use the same test for
ручной тестировщик
automated tests,
писал
but if
тест,
a manual test was
выполнял
design
это,
and
как он
test and
предлагал,
do that
то
himself and
сценарий для
didn't
автоматизатора, который
irritate him, but for the
3-5
automator
минут,
that
это достаточно критично, потому
works for
что
3 to
пока
5
он
minutes,
делает,
it's
в
critical
каком-то
because
шаге
while
может
it's being
возникнуть
done,
ошибка.
at some stage there might
Сам
be an
отклик
error.
браузера. Мы удивились, что когда вы
Browser response. We
работаете с
got
браузером
surprised
самостоятельно,
when we started working
он
with browsers
работает
ourselves.
отлично, быстро, но когда вы начинаете
Then
делать
it works
через
perfectly
эмуляцию,
fast. But
то
when you do it
браузер
through
очень сильно тормозит.
simulation, that
И
all of a sudden
ресурсы,
the browser starts slowing down.
ресурсы, они не бесконечны,
And the resources are not unlimited. The servers should be very powerful. So there was not enough money, and
Дальше была нестабильность.
There were
Это первая штука из-за
non-stability.
данных.
First, because of
У
data.
нас сложный достаточно продукт, там много
The product
зависимостей.
is very
Например, у врача
complicated, a
может
lot
быть
of
где-то 15 вариаций форм
interdependence. For
записи.
instance,
Один
at
врач
one doctor
принимает
might
людей,
have up to
один врач работает
15
сразу в 5 клиниках, у кого-то
the
есть
types of records.
расписание,
A
кто-то
doctor might be working in 5 clinics at the same time, and
просто это фейковый
some
факт.
people have
Поэтому мы под них
schedules,
подстраивались, мы
and
не имели
there might be
таких
maybe
подготовленных
appointments,
таким
or there
образом.
might
Мы
be some
просто
fake
брали
appointments.
врача,
So we
который
were
точно
just taking
стабильный,
doctors
никогда не заблочится,
who
будет
would be
работать.
really
Потом
stable
через
and
неделю
wouldn't get
клиника
blocked.
не платила деньги, врач блочится,
And then
тесты
1 week,
падали.
the
Сам
clinic would not
Selenium
receive
Grid,
money, and the
который,
test would
кто знает,
go down.
поймет
Selenium
меня,
Grid
он
itself, if you
нестабильно
know it, you will
работает.
understand me. Selenium Grid is not
Версию они,
stable,
конечно, чинили, но
and
получалось,
from
что
version to
всегда.
version, of course, they were trying to fix it, but sometimes it doesn't work. Flaky tests. If somebody doesn't know, it's the test that's
Только что он
flacking.
работал, следующий сборке не
So
упадет, через 2
now
сборки
it's
опять
working,
будет работать.
next time it's not
И, в принципе,
working,
ничего
then
не
it
меняли, а
will
он
work again,
просто
like you do nothing, and
И быстро
all
меняется
of a sudden
продукт.
sometimes it doesn't work.
Из-за
And
того,
the
что мы
product
все
changes
делали
very
через
fast,
ИБ-тесты,
and
получалось, что
due to the fact that we were doing
мы только
everything through
покрыли
EB test,
автоматизацию
we covered
функционала, он
automation
поменялся,
of the
потом
function only, and it
Поддержка.
changed
Ну,
over time,
соответственно,
and
эти
nobody
люди,
needs it. Support.
которых было всего
Support
2,
is
им
people, there are only 2
догонять
people,
достаточно большую агрессию.
and they had to
Это процесс
cover up for a
разработки,
lot of
который нам
regression,
не
and the
позволяли,
development process
на тот
that
момент
did not
вообще
allow us
как-то
back
пушить
then
ветку разработчикам.
to
Мы писали
push
тесты
this
отдельно, задачи были, и
direction,
разработка
and
отдельно, мы их
development
ломали.
was
И
separately,
сама
and we had
архитектура
to
тестов,
upload
с
it.
которой мы начали,
And
она была
tests
не очень
architecture
красивая,
that is
поэтому
we
сложно
started
было
with, it
понять.
didn't look nice, so it was hard to maintain
Если
it.
говорить про аналитику, то
Speaking about analytics,
много данных, если
there was a
взять
lot
просто
of
в
data,
консоль, то ничего
and
не
if you just put it
понятно.
on the console, it's not clear how
Нам не
to work
хватало
with it.
истории запусков для
There
тех же
was
флаги
not
тестов.
enough
Очень
history
важно
of
понимать, что
launches
тест
for
реально
flaky
флаги,
tests.
он
It's
падает
important to understand
постоянно.
it, that it's flaky
Либо
and
тест упал
it drops
первый раз
down
и
all the
вообще
time,
не
or
начинать.
whether it drops
Ну
down
и,
for the first
соответственно,
time and you need to
планирование
fix it.
без аналитики.
And planning
Сложно было
without
каждый
analytics,
раз
it's
считать,
really hard to
какое у
plan.
нас покрытие, куда нам
It
нужно
was hard
направить
to
ресурсы,
calculate
что покрывать
what's
в
the
этом.
coverage and where should we
И,
take
соответственно,
resources from.
стоимость бизнес спрашивал каждый раз, а где же
And
деньги,
the
которые
value,
нам дали.
your business keeps on asking, we gave you a lot of money,
Не
where's
очень
the money?
хорошо, не хотели
It
продать.
always very expensive, and they wanted to see profit.
Значит, начали решать проблемы.
So we started shooting problems
Первое, с чего взялись,
at
это
the speed.
архитектура
The first
серверов.
thing
То
we
есть мы пошли
started
через
doing
отдел
is the service
эксплуатации.
architecture.
Проблема была
We
в
went through
большом
maintenance
образе
of the
базы
operation
данных.
department.
Он
There
весил
was a
порядка
huge
30
database.
гигабайт.
It
И
was
получалось,
about
что
20 gigabytes.
пока ты его соберешь, уходило минут
And
15
while you
до
work
того,
with
как
it, it
вообще
takes
тесты
about
могли
15
запуститься. И мы
minutes
стали
to
просто
launch
их
a
готовить
test.
заранее.
And
Оказалось,
we
что это
started
вполне
preparing
рабочее
it in
время.
advance, and
Дальше мы добавили
it turns
старт
out it worked
окружения
out.
параллельно с деплоем, то есть один сервер
Then we decided
для
to start
сборки
the
приложения,
environment together with the
второй
deploy.
где
So
разворачивать
first
сами
for
стартер этих
the
тестов. Вполне они тоже жили параллельно.
application
И
test, and
мы
second
разработали
everything
скриптик,
around.
который делал нашу
We
систему
developed a script which
умное распределение мощности. То есть есть тесты, которые
distributed the
проходят
power in a
быстро
smart
на легких страницах, и им, в принципе, не
Some
нужен
tests
мощный
are
сервер.
done
А
easily
есть
on
сценарии,
light
которые
pages,
были
and they
долгие,
don't need
но
a
тяжелые
powerful
страницы,
server.
которые список
And there are
врачей.
other tests
И
that
эти тесты
need a
начинали
powerful
загибаться, и
server,
нужно
for
просто
instance,
в
a
какой-то
database
момент
of
добавить,
doctors.
например,
And at
оперативной
some point
памяти.
they need
И мы
additional
научились делать это, то есть на
RAM.
сервер автоматически
So
при
we
определенных параметрах эта оперативная
learned to
память
do it
добавлялась. Как только тест
automatically. On
отрабатывал,
certain
он сразу
parameters,
забирался. Так
RAM
мы
was
экономили
added, and
очень
as soon
много
as
денег.
those tests were finished,
Дальше мы
the
пошли в
additional RAM was taken
распараллеливание.
away, taken back. Then, some of you maybe have already done it, but there are a few pitfalls here. It seems it's easy to do it, but actually it's hard to do it. We did a few tests here, a few experiments. On one flow, everything is clear. There is one backend stand, and there is a Selenium hub on it, which starts nodes. But there's a starter of tests. Many flows, the main stand on Selenium hub. Then we played with this number, how many flows can one backend server maintain and how many flows can one node support. And so we played for a long time, either we lost stability or we lost speed, and we realized that one node can do 8 flows and one backend can support 30 flows, and we can scale them up quite fast. And there is this certain situation here, stability drops down and the cost goes up. Even if you check, if you buy more servers, then it was sorted by two things. First, we went to clouds. We started using cloud servers. We used to have a server that has and if you need a new one, then you should come to an operation department, and they would have more sources, and it's costly and time-consuming. Now we're using clouds. As soon as we launch tests, we launch a server cloud for them, a deploy cloud with an application. So as soon as the tests are completed, we get the cloud disconnected, and we test at night, and the costs go down by 3 times probably, and servers are more powerful. And stability. There are Selenium versions, there are different versions of browsers, and some of them are compatible, some of them are not very much compatible, and it took us long to choose the Selenium version and the browser version that will be matching. And there's only one browser. All the cross-browser checks were done in the morning because we realized that cross-browser did not urge that much problems.
So then we continued with the test scenarios. They took quite a long time, and we just launched them using what we had. So we made them one thread because when they were parallel, then there were some problems, so we tried to use like single. Then it took us around 2 months, and the scenario became much shorter, but more resilient. Now the standard is 1 minute. We were not able to change all the old ones, so some of them are still 2 minutes, but there are only some small fraction of those. So and then we started to use the API. So this was the easiest way to get into the database and take something from that. And our access to the database is restricted, so we can only read from the database, but we cannot retrieve anything from that. But we had APIs used by our partners to build similar services similar to ours, and we started to use their APIs just to get the SMS code, and then we started to use it in our scripts, in our scenarios. For us, it was important to prepare the data and to retrieve. For example, in the data we have a doctor. He has to have a schedule. He has to be active, so the clinic has to pay in billing something to activate it, and there has to be an integration as well. So then we started to create our own APIs for the tests, for testing, and these APIs could delete, create the certain entries, data, but we could replace the data, but we couldn't clean the cache, so it was not effective. So how this might look like in this scenario, and how can it be integrated? So this is the table. There is a doctor who receives like children, so he's a pediatrician, and here we then insert this word, which slots like children in this case, and also there is a table part inserted through the API. So instead of creating a new table every time, so we use API. So then the how we counteracted flaky. So we had errors connected with that, so we had to relaunch it. We relaunched it 3 times, but tests failed and failed, but starting from the 3rd attempt, it worked. So it increased the time 2 times with a factor of 2 approximately, but it was quite stable afterwards, but the factor of 2 was not okay with us. So, and we found out that 3 launches is not needed for every test. Some tests need only 2, some just 1. So we, by trial and error, defined the proper number of relaunches for various tests, and that was okay. Also, at first we just inserted some scripts and waited until the page downloads in full, but now we connect to the elements which are not uploaded. So we are not waiting for the whole page to upload, we just wait for the component which we want to click. After it appears on the screen, the timer is reset and then we can click on it. So these are the API methods. And we make the stability and the standard feature of the processes. So that's why we added the launch of tests just when switching to review. So we don't need to ask developer to launch a test. So after it switches to review, so the test starts automatically, and sometimes during the review or even before the review, they can see the results of the tests. Also, we try to insert the automatic reject of the tests if it fails, but it was not successful because there are some tests which need to be adjusted. Also, we started to use daily launches of trans-browser history, cross-browser history, and it helps us just coming to work daily to see already some list of problems that we have, to change the tests, and before the release, all tests will become green. Also, it adds the info to the Jira and to the other messengers. In Jira, in the task, you can see that how many tests have been launched, how much time it would take, and the results of the tests also, like whether it's successful or not. And if the tester couldn't repair that, so he can continue with testing and he can leave the task active. So, and there is a group which monitors the tests, and when the result is negative, then they respond. So we added the feature of skipping the tests. It was always there, but now we have to and can control the skips. So we see how many tests were skipped, critical tests skipped, and we can monitor, control it. So there is a threshold which we cannot parse. And also we have adjusted the uploading of the deploys. So the tasks which come with auto tests, and they have to be in priority. So in continuous, the green corridor is opened and the tests are uploaded as the priority tasks. And this is the simple procedure of uploading them, like Murph master procedure. So the scheme looks as follows. So this is the simple scheme, and I think so what actually happens here? So when tests fail, so here you see dev environment, and in release it can look more complex. So the tester looks for a bug. If it's a bug, it sends it to the. If it's not a bug, it sends it to defect. If it's a bug, then he tries to repair the test, and if he repairs it within 10 minutes, then the task goes to the release. And if it cannot be, the task cannot be repaired, then it's skipped, and there is another procedure for repairing, fixing skipped tests. So we have one button in Jira which creates the task for automatizer to repair the tests. So it would be very difficult to maintain it just with 2 automizers, and we started to involve like manual testers. It's quite easy because to read and repair one failed test, it's easier than to learn how to automatize scenarios fully, and manual testers was also an opportunity for some freshmen to start doing something automatic, but automatizers, they don't need support, they just write tests and develop architecture. So automatizers, they have shifts, also other testers are always on duty. Continuously somebody is on duty. They monitor whether there are some failures, errors, but others shouldn't be involved with that. So there is one person in charge. Also, we made it so that the adjustments can be made directly in the task. So if you are, as a tester, checking the task and you have repaired the test, so at the stage of the release, everything should be okay. And also we added just simple relaunch, like directly in Jira. There is a button for launching a test, relaunching a test, and also we try to understand by the code analyzer which tests have to be launched. But still we cannot do that, but we move towards that. So this is a simple scheme just to explain you the process. So everything starts in Jira, then the tests are launched from there, like in the priority of tasks. Then we added our plugin, which helps to read the tests in quite a simple form. Every person, every employee can understand what is it about, what is the kind of test, because the scenario of test is like described directly there, and you can see the exact step which failed, and also there is some log to monitor the flag is, and also there are screenshots, and you can see the link to the point where it happens. Also, we use Rocket Chat. Earlier we used HipChat, Slack, but the principle is the same. Also, we use the report portal. In Allure, we don't have an opportunity to make deep analysis, but the report portal allows to do that, but only automatizers can work with that because it's quite difficult to read the data in it, and we need to collect automatically the statistics. We added tags on failures. It can be a system bug or a defect or test problems. So everything is tagged, and the report portal allows for automatically inserting the tags when it sees 5 similar failures in a row. So then it generates tags automatically and puts them in the right place. Also, you see here like the manual tests and scenarios, and it's used to create coverage. So a test together with the report portal connects through IP, and the test is closed, and here we see the coverage, and it is sent to a query and then to Chat.io. In Chat.io we make these plots, the graphs, and we have around 50 metrics for manual testers and 30 metrics for automatizers, and this is the fragment of a dashboard. You can see the number of skipped tests, and also we have the number of critical skip tests, the trend of their failure, whether it's going up or down, and also the percentage of failures and the tendency, and also we can see the data set with the majority of problems. So we see the tests that were failed because of other tests, it's 10% of all the launches, and also systemic failures of tests, and now we at least understand that there should be more stability at the operation side. So this is how the coverage looks. So we split it into suites. Each suite has its own coverage. There is coverage of critical functionality and the dynamics of the growth of this coverage, and there are some critical tests. So there are several options whether we want to cover, we don't want to cover, and we want to introduce the new tests. So there are several options. So what is the result actually that we get? So we started with the style, and actually this is quite simple procedure, but it can make the work quicker, and it's not expensive. So the first thing that we need is the servers and the multi-flow functionality. So cloud servers allow to save a lot of money, but some people, those who still use their own servers, they should try cloud servers because they are twice more powerful. Also, you can use some features to make launches more stable. You can use relaunches, but you shouldn't make it like a standard rule, like 3 launches, because you will lose time. Support can be provided by manual testers, and it's quite simple. And also using analytics allows you to understand where is your problem actually, and what you have to analyze to find it. All these adjustments have to be used in a combination, because you will not use a good result just using one improvement, but also you have to progress step by step and try to make the processes stable, so that you shouldn't always run to the computer and monitor what's going on, whether it's good or not, and so it should be more or less automatic. Thank you for your presentation. So I have several questions. Why Schwarzenegger is almost in every slide? Well, because tests are like robots. You need a lot of them. It's about this multi-flow. You said that in one flow you have multi-loop. So you said that 40 loops is 5 minutes only, but I counted that it should be 15 minutes. No, in one flow there can be different tests, not one and the same test. You mean all 40 flows in 5 minutes? But they're in parallel. Well, they're in parallel, but 10 hours divided by 40 flows, if it's evenly distributed, I get 15 minutes. Well, it's automatic system that counts it, it's not counted manually. Well, and the automatic says that it's 5 minutes, and the flows here, they are growing automatically, and here we set 5 minutes, and then the system adds like by increments the values. Well, and in which way do you make it in parallel? Do you have some multi-flow embedded into the multi-flow? So is it at the level of feature files or at the level of the scenarios? Well, it's done at the level of the feature files. Do you use it through the Java plugin? Through the Jenkins. It's done through the Jenkins. I don't understand. So I don't remember how it is done inside. What is the internal system used? So I have 2 questions. First, do you have any problems when switching to cloud servers related to safety, accessibility? Because when you use your own hardware, this is one thing, so safety is much higher. But as far as I understand, you have your own personal data of your customers, specific data, and well, we had some problems. I don't remember. I mean, 44. So, and then we have to delete the data, and you cannot see the live data. So you used hashing, and then after that you used the cloud service. And the second question: how did you adjust the launch of the tests when the tasks go to review? So first you launch the tests at the desk reggae, where the developer adjusted the code. No, there is a cloud, its own cloud opened, and the code is deployed there, so it's an independent deployment. But when switching, so in Jira you make a hook which sends Jenkins to launch the test. So first deploy set and then auto test at the cloud server, right? And if deploy fails in this case, well, if deploy fails, then there is a warning message that it failed. But can we continue starting from the point when the deploy failed? And you understand that there is a small error, and you just switch it to server. Well, it will be it won't be relaunched because the result should be clear. It will it will update something that failed, but we don't know whether it's updated properly. So it normally takes 25 minutes. It's not. It doesn't take a lot of time. Well, can you
Okay, manual testers. Did you teach them to adjust automatic tasks? How did you do it? We did it quite fast. It took a month. First 5 people learned in a month. So we took first the group of those ones who were most loyal. We launched on 5 and they could do it in 1 month. Then we took another group of 15 people, and now 15 people can do it as well, and only 5 who can't do it. It depends on their desire as well. It depends on their readiness to learn. Our automation lead, we developed a training plan. It consists of 3 lessons. First, Cucumber GS and how to launch it. Second, how to set up the environment. And the third thing is the launch. So it's quite easy, quite simple. And we pay for trainings and courses for guys. They learn at GS. Hello, my name is Anastasia, RTK, and Fatih. A question about analytics. Look, you showed dashboards for manual testers. As far as I understand, this information is used for automators as well. Where do you save these analytics? Maybe you have a database open. What tool do you use? And what do you show the customer in the end? Good question. The customer sees this screen, these pictures. They are clear to customers, and we store data in BigQuery, and they get exported. And so this tool designs all the diagrams. In BigQuery, we actually store many more things. I mentioned about 100 more errors, business indicators, Yandex metrics, and all this stuff. And out of this data, we build different boards according to our needs. Thank you very much for your speech. One of the difficulties, instability of Selenium grid. How did you work with it? We chose different versions. We were checking the Selenium grid versions and the browser version. But browsers are getting updated in the course of time. Does it still work? We just fixed the version that we need and we don't update it. And another question, if I understand, Gherkin didn't help you to speed it up and to stabilize tasks. It's just convenient for you to use it. Gherkin helps us on Allure in Jenkins. It's easier to read the reports. In case of failures, for instance, sometimes it was hard for manual testers to read a scenario on Gherkin. Hello. You have automated tasks, and they're included on continuous integration, and developers, after every merge, run them, right? No, they don't run them. They run only in case if we pass it to review. Okay. And if there is a functionality, but there is no automated task, and then the developer receives a task that he needs to change functionality, so automated test is not going to be done there. In this case, what do you do? Who's going to be adjusting the task? This is for manual tester. He understands that the test failed because functions changed, and he must click the right button on Jira, and the task will go to adjust the task. If the manual tester can do it, they can do it. Some of them already have learned to change scenarios. If it's too complicated, they don't do it. They just push the button on Jira, and they link the tasks, and automator gets to the dashboard of tasks, and he changes it on the task list and on other source. Good afternoon. Thank you for your speech, and I wanted to ask a few questions. First, when you launch an automated test and they are unreviewed, is it done in virtual environment? Yes, on the cloud. And the database is empty? The database is not empty. First, we prepare it in the morning, and it lives for a day, and it's enough for us. And when we do deploy, we just take it. Do you have any stages? And do you test on prod? We have demo. And it's not stage, we call it release server. It's similar to Boy, and demo is less powerful, but in terms of configurations, it's similar. So every developer has his own stand of environment that he collects in his cloud. Every tester has it dedicated to him only, and when we deploy a task, we create a cloud for a test, and the tester can do it manually in the cloud as well. Final question? Thank you very much for your presentation. Automated tests, they cover your functional features or regression tests only? We cover regression tests only because we believe that regression must be covered for, and some things that we don't want to cover for, we just ignore them and we just put a mark that we don't want it. So we see the percentage of what we don't do. It took you 2 years to cover regress with automated tests. We covered it in full in 1 year. And then we decided to change architecture, change it all. So, because it took an hour to launch them sometimes. Okay, thank you. The other questions, please ask them in the lobby. And as usual, please choose the best question. One? Oh, I don't remember already. Who was asking questions? Could you put hands up? Put your hands up. The lady, perhaps. Next to the column. I think it was something exciting. Thank you.